saying like, man, what do you think about RFK? Like, I know you don't like Marianne. Were you gonna support RFK? I'm like, bro, I'm not voting in the Democratic primary.
Right, exactly.
I was not even wasting my time to vote.
Well, what I don't understand is like, it's almost like they weren't here for the discussion about us not doing this. Like, where did all these people who are now pushing it, even some of the people who are some of the forefront of advocacy for this whole Marianne Williamson push, it was like, you were here for the same conversations. You know how we were fed up and we were
in there.
Like, what happened here?
And they're telling you up front that this is going to end with them telling you to vote for Biden, because if they were not going to do that, they'd say, yes, once they sabotage my campaign or I lose whatever, I'm still going to be running. They would say that now, right? And then we'd be having a completely different conversation. RFK is already pulling the my good friend Joe shit.
And I can't stand that.
What are you, stuck on stupid? What part?
He has to be.
And don't you remember that with Bernie Sanders? No, I mean the people who beyond that point still want to support him. Don't you get it? Don't you remember that with Bernie? His good friend Joe, what do you have, amnesia from 2020? You don't.
No, we got people in our chat who start crying when we rag on RFK. It's like, I'm sorry, did you just wander into this show 3 days ago? You've been saying this for a couple of years at this point.
Well, I think also people are creatures of habit, and we have to remember that this is something a lot of Americans are heavily programmed into believing. They're believing into what they see in corporate media, and they want to try one more time to see if they could upset the establishment. And for many people, this is a fantasy, their dream to see if they could finally this time around get it right and show the Obamas, show the Clintons, show the Bidens. And and the thing is, I'm even trying to tell this to all these young people who are all infatuated with Marianne Williamson on TikTok. Guys, oh no, I've seen this happen before. Your lemmings going off the cliff. Yeah. Marianne Williamson and the RFK campaigns have not made an official statement of what would happen if the DNC commits the same kind of fraudulent behaviors that they did to the Bernie Sanders campaign in 2016 and 2020, how Tulsi Gabbard was horribly smeared. Like, we may not agree with everything what Tulsi Gabbard says, but she was unnecessarily dragged throughout the primaries and was the last woman standing, Elizabeth Warren, Kamala Harris. She was the last woman standing in the Democratic primaries, and yet her name was utterly devastated by the DNC. So the thing is, RFK, Marianne Williamson supporters, folks, you're in for a very rude awakening, and the Democrats have already said the key word that should be crapping your pants, and that is there's going to be no debates.
Yes.
Right.
I want to interject this.
Go ahead.
We were just talking about this. If you guys haven't seen it, because he just tweeted this less than a week ago, RFK Jr., I have known and liked Joe Biden for many years. My good friend Joe.
Oh, God.
But we differ profoundly on fundamental issues as corporate influence and government, censorship, civil liberties, poverty, corruption, and war policy, among others. I look forward to engaging him in debates. You know he's not, though. Like, this is bullshit. So he leaves with, I have known and liked Joe Biden for many years. Guys, you know how I read this? He's throwing in the towel already. So the Biden administration has been smearing this guy as an anti-vax lunatic. They have been attacking him in the most aggressive, scumbag ways, right? Meanwhile, RFK, like, I like Joe Biden. As Joe Biden, just like what Bernie said, as Joe Biden was calling Bernie Sanders socialist, he's gonna destroy our party. Bernie, like, oh, good friend Biden. The Biden campaign was like, Bernie Sanders will lose to Trump. We can't let Bernie win. If Bernie wins, Trump is gonna win. Meanwhile, they asked Bernie if Biden could beat Trump. He's like, yeah, I think Biden could beat Trump.
You don't need to vote for me. You can vote for my good friend Joe. I'm sure he can beat Biden. I just think we have some serious issues we need to discuss. But vote for who you
that's
like.
a really good one. That's a really good one. But were you going to say more about the thread, Nick, before I bring up this next part here?
I'll read it because
everybody.
I can't assume anyone's seen it. So I'll read the full tweet to be fair. He said, I'm a multi-generational Democrat. See, when you start that way, you lose me, guys. I'm sorry.
He's telling you how this is going to end.
Yes.
He's telling you up front.
When you say I'm a multi-generational Democrat, like, the Bill Clinton era was horrible.
Right.
Jimmy Carter era was horrible. What generation of Democrats are you okay with, sir? But I think our party have gone off track. Remember when we upheld the interests of the poor and middle class? No. I mean, once again, I think of the black working class because once again, we was never, ever taking care of the Democratic Party ever. CJ, ever. Like that New Deal shit. So I hear this shit is different for me. Like if you watch it, like when I hear people say, "You remember when Democrats used to be pro worker?" I'm like, "When, motherfucker? When?"